All right, welcome back, folks. It was a fun last series that we got to saw between two Panther clubs. It was High Point who just narrowly sneaked things away in the Fortress Hardpoint and Map 4 to take it over the FIU Panthers out of Florida. Now we'll switch gears to the Northeast, where OTSU will be taking on Farmingdale State Esports. And really what is going to be kind of the big matchup here is the fact that, Ontario Tech, they're just going to try and be putting up some things against a very strong and formidable team. Farmingdale has been very good all year long. I don't expect it to change, and being the 10th ranked team here, there's no reason why they're the favorites. But first and foremost, let's start out by talking about the roster for OTSU, Ontario Tech. That would be who come into this with a 4-3 record. Tyler Fury, Schmutz, Moby, and Shadow. Cash, we got a chance to look at this team on stream a little bit ago. We got to learn some things about them, but they were playing up against St. Clair in another collegiate league. There's really not much merit that we can grant to them, except, they got 0-3'd in that matchup. Yeah. But this is a team that still can put up some pretty significant numbers against opponents given the right formula.
Absolutely. They're not quite in that upper tier of this Division 1 set of teams that we have. Farmingdale included in that conversation. So I don't know that anyone's expecting more than maybe a map or so here, but again, they could pleasantly surprise with, even if they are losing maps, they can still show good signs in this series to say that, hey, they're headed in the right direction for the postseason, and they've got some good building blocks that they can look to stack upon as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You got a smorgasbord of different levels of collegiate adeptitude, freshman, sophomore, junior, and a senior. So it'll be kind of nice to get, I would love to understand like the team dynamic here of being like, superiority and whatnot. That'd be kind of funny. But regardless, this is a team that we kind of pegged as like, I don't really see them, making too deep of a playoff run. When you talk about like top 16s and stuff like that, or maybe even top 32s. But genuinely speaking, being at where they are inside of the Northeast, they're going up against the likes of, say, an Akron team, or against, even this Farmingdale State team to say, hey, can we be a top mid-pack team? Or are we just going to kind of float around mid-pack and be like, oh, well, we're okay with taking, a top 8 seed in the playoffs and getting the first round bye. So I would love to see them take a map off of Farmingdale. That would be cool. I would love that. I think you would love that. I think a lot of people would love that. Will it happen? Maybe.
Yet to be seen. Yeah, yet to be seen. I mean, as we look at the Farmingdale roster and who they're bringing to the table. We'll dive into the head-to-head after that. But again, you got to talk about. You said they were the number 10 overall coming into this one, and they've been performing well all year, boasting good records in all of their modes across the board. It's just been a squad that's come out and really put a stunner here in the CCL.
Yeah, absolutely. And, when we're talking about Farmingdale specifically, we've seen them on stream a few times. The only loss that they have was against Fisher, who are a consensus top 3, 4, or 5 team at the end of the day, whether it's, community or player rankings within the top 25 committee. But Spades, CDL, Pubstar, Carbonize, and Teza, this team has a really high aspiration. I don't know if I'd say they're a lock to make it land, but I would say they've got a pretty damn good shot. They've got a couple teams they're going to have to face off against that. Obviously, being 10th ranked technically, there's a couple other teams, like 2 better than them, that might make land opposed to them. But once we get into playoff time, there's a very real possibility that some of those teams crumble, and Farmingdale might be able to take advantage of that, or it might be the opposite way around. Of course, we'll just have to wait and see. But right now, they're a guaranteed at least 1 or 2 seed out of the Northeast. They're not going to fall off a cliff and be down there fighting against like Akron and Ohio State and stuff like that. This is a team that is kind of a cut above everybody else. We said Fisher and them were in the tier of their own. And yes, they did get 0-3'd by Fisher. But, although the matches weren't realistically all that close, there still is contention there, and there was enough substance to give us, kind of an inside look and say like, all right, they're going to be pretty good going into the playoffs. So I don't really think there's much to worry about where Farmingdale is concerned. Obviously, they're a favorite coming into this matchup. But on Ontario Tech's side, I think that's where we need to start the conversation here. A map win here is everything against Fisher, whether it's in the first, second, third, fourth, or fifth maps of the series. Obviously, it has to be within the first 3. But, I would prefer to see them be able to take a map off them.
Yeah, again, it would be an absolute win. And you look at the records across the board. I mean, of course, the overall record's looking very good for Farmingdale as we've shaped up in its entirety. But again, I'm looking at the control, which is kind of a guaranteed mode right now. Of course, you look at the level of what these teams have played. And for OTSU, 5-2. means they're beating the teams that they should and maybe getting a couple more wins here and there. So again, that map 3, they could be looking to kick off a reverse sweep. They could be looking to, hey, we'll say it, close out the series, if something were to happen in that extent. Either way, it's one where, again, they do have a couple of modes where they have a possibility to give it a run. Again, they still boast a positive record at 5-4 in the Search and Destroy, but of course you look to the other side of the coin, and about as close to perfection as you could ask of a squad, really trying to make a statement here. And again, looking at the S&D at 9, and on the other side won't be an easy one. The hard point 9-2. Again, it will not be an easy battle for OTSU, but any kind of waves they can make, any amount they can jar this Farmingdale team, definitely something they could try to take advantage of and swing their way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just looking to the side of Farmingdale here, you see the record, you see that control, and yes, it's a little ugly. It does stand out. But I think the 9-2 hardpoint record, maybe not talking where Ontario Tech is concerned, but I think that is going to be something they need to clean up a little bit too going forward. Because here's the thing, you look to the top 4 or 5 teams, what's the mode that they're always going to be really good in? And especially that's when you kind of synonymize that with everything else and like challengers and like the pro scene and stuff like that. Every team is going to be at the top of their pool when they're facing a team that's, maybe a little like less competitive than them. It's going to be hard point where they really take over a series. That's just where you get to see where everybody's on the same page and really well connected. S&D is, I don't want to say it's like a joke, but like to a lot of teams, like they don't really, you don't get consistent scrims for that. So you're not going to be able to have that as like your big prowess thing and like something that you're going to ride off of. That's the swing mode where you can really take something off of a team like Farmingdale if you are OTSU. But again, their records across the board aren't necessarily bad for the teams that they're supposed to be playing around. But where Farmingdale is concerned, they're just better in every single mode and statistic because they're really, on paper, the better team. But we'll take a look at our map set here. Starting things off here for map number 1, we're going to be starting with an embassy like we did in the last series, a double dosage of hotel for the S&D in control. And of course, we need to go to the distance, fortress, and embassy to round us off there. But, Cash, embassy, we kind of use that as like a battleground to see who can survive within the mists of all the chaos. I think that we'll get a really good glimpse to see how Ontario Tech are going to respond to some decent pressure early out the gates.
That's absolutely going to be the case. You talk about it being a map where people square up or things get mixing crazy, and sure, that can be the case. I think it's far easier to control this map than maybe a fortress is if you're comparing size of maps alone. I think the teams that are dominant in hardpoint make this map their absolute parade ground. I expect Farmington out of the gate to be able to dictate spawn, start pinning them in the top left corner, top right corner, whatever portion of the map they need to funnel them through one lane. I completely expect that to be the case. Carbonized, they're going to get out tennis court. They're going to try to pin them in this top right side or this bottom left. Either way, they want control of the map early. You can already see that being their intention, and they're also locking down a good bit of P1 time to start.
Yeah, I was going to say, right out the gates, it's going to be interesting to gauge where OTSU is going to be able to go on the map. It's back to the respawn block. Farmingdale immediately took everybody out of the gates, and as a team, they were almost combined for like 9 or 10 straight there to start the game out. So Ontario Tech haven't had that, nice of a welcoming party here. Farmingdale have gotten very acclimated to this map quite quickly. Yeah, that's really all there's to say. Everybody getting slayed out right now.
Yeah, again, as chaotic and messy as this map can be, I think it plays a bit more cut and dry than, some people are willing to say at times. If you know what you're doing and know how you want to influence it as a good respawn team, I expect this to be quite a blowout. I'm just going to say it from the break. You can just tell by P1 how a team moves around that, again, the way these guys are jumping around, challenging around corners, you can tell they're good to go for this one. You're going to be holding P2 from the front side, but if you're holding it from the front, you know where OTSU is going to be pushing through next. Everyone locking down pre-aims on that bottom right corner.
And you can see where they're holding, too. They're not getting too aggressive to one portion of the map. They're holding down the spawns, and they know where OTSU are going to be at every given point. So being able to not only occupy P2, but making sure that top left mini-map is where the spawn is going to consistently be. Yeah, you might be technically giving up the next rotation, but with the way your guns have been, the ability to consistently get kills against Ontario Tech early on here, there's no reason that Farmingdale have been able to take the large majority of this map so far and just have consistent dominant control.
Absolutely the case. One more set of kills. You could push these spawns out towards that top right side. For now, players spawning in and around orange. Schmutz walking the ladder as well. So as this hill pops, you hope to get a few seconds on board, but a quick push coming in out of Farmingdale, and I thought you might be able to get a few seconds. FSC
one works,
take
right?
that away in a moment, and yeah, hey, 1 second, I guess, is that it plays
kind of a win.
Yeah, something like that in a very dark way.
And again, you know, like no disrespect to Ontario Tech, but Farmingdale is truly just that good. Nice little double there from Tyler Furio, and Schmutz should allow this Ontario Tech roster to get into this hill for some time. It'll be a long kind of battle back across the map and a foot race here from Farmingdale if they do want to go ahead and break back for this back 25 seconds. You know, in my mind, you know, one person might try to hit for it. I think they're just going to set up for rotations, though, and that's obviously the smart play through. Shadow, big gunfight here, might be able to take it, and that is ridiculous, dude. Like, if I load into a match and I get snaked like that, dude, I'm alt F4ing. I don't care.
Yeah, that's the last you'll see of me for a while. Either way, these guys are going to keep trying to duke it out. Tyler on a 5 spree, so interesting to note that, hey, if you can build upon that, get a streak, maybe you can use that to influence things a little bit more. A 60-point game here, but it's not quite playing like that. It feels like a bit more, but Ontario Tech behind Tyler Fury going on a rampage. 7 in a row now. They get the early break here and a decent setup for now. Starting to garner more time as they're looking to lock down P4.
This little bounce back here, though. I guess it's not all doom and gloom. Maybe we were shaping it up to be something that it potentially might not be. Tyler Fury, though, will get knocked down to the front, so it's 3 kills that go the way of Farmingdale State, and once again, they'll go ahead and knock all 4 players from OTSU down. There'll be nice little snap moves to the second. Doesn't realize there's one to the right, so CDL Pubstar will be able to pinstripe kill feed that one to another 20-second hold here for Farmingdale. Tyler Fury's just going to be in. He's got the right idea. He's flying at Farmingdale. If you can move faster than they can react to, that's how you're going to win the majority of the gunfights. And if everybody else can kind of follow that same motto, could have a chance.
Absolutely could. I think it's just surviving that first onslaught of hard points where, sure, they walked away with 90 seconds of the first 120. They're able to battle back from that and keep it relatively contest heavy. So that's what they're trying to do here is they also have P5s that looks to pop. FSC on the outside looking in, trying to poise up and get ready for their break now. OTSU spawning a little bit out. Pinstripe killed for now. Spades gets in and gets the break though for Farmingdale.
The clean feed here from Farmingdale State. Time being evenly spread around, but Spades looks like to call his home. That's out of the hard point. Well, be nice little shots on the Carbonize. Will be able to walk away with a gunfight win as Tez tries to snap back to the middle of the map. Here comes OTSU for a nice little break. Tyler Fury once again spearheading this operation forward as he's gotten 2 in a row. However, CDL Pubstar has gotten himself back in. Shadow with a nice little double will allow Tez to be there, the last one alive with 4 HP. And as the trophy system will go ahead and knock him down, Spades will be here last alive for the 10 seconds. As the rotation over to the middle of the map will just be around the corner.
Sidestep out the door to try to garner some more time. OTSU in a good position to get it, but that top bathroom position so hard to fight. Where are these next kills coming from? Farmingdale State, at least with the advantage in map control for now, but as I say that, OTSU get a good break. They're trying to push through Embassy and influence P2 spawns the best they can this time, sitting open for the first 15 seconds. Who's going to try to jump on it? Well, it's going to be Smuts for now, and he's at least going to walk over the few seconds.
Well, the good thing is for OTSU, this looks a lot better scoreline-wise than 2-90 did. You've also kept Farmingdale from being able to get significant time around the last few hills, a lot of which have been money hills as well. So that's something that you can pat yourselves on the back for, and really you've started to claw your way back into this hard point, which is probably what a lot of people didn't expect to happen after how dominant that opening break was for Farmingdale State. So the 10th ranked team showing their prowess, but Ontario Tech still looking to make a significant comeback here with only 10 seconds left in the middle of the map. This is where we saw Farmingdale really get the majority of their time last time through. P2 was their playground, as Cash was kind of providing to earlier. So if they are able to go ahead and lock this down, you don't want to see Ontario Tech get set up in that same spawn trap they were the last time. But this time through, though, it will be those white arrows set up in by P2. They might be able to get themselves early in significant time.
It's only a 40 or so point game as well. It's just hard because for Farmingdale State, the AR is shooting so well. And again, Tyler Fury as a sub, Moby getting around and making an impact around the map, but not quite playing to the level as far as ARs are concerned between Shadow and Smuts that Farmingdale State are providing. Tyler Fury going to invest a streak. They know they need an early break on this one to keep it close, to keep it competitive. You find 2. What more can you find behind it? At least the time not going the way of Farmingdale State, but it's still sitting empty.
It was unfortunate there too, because like Shadow got weakened up, and if that streak would have connected and Shadow would have been able to hop into the hill, that could have genuinely garnered them like 30 seconds of time, which would have been sick nasty, man. But it doesn't equate to that. They do get 15 out of it, though, so it should be, still about a 40-50 point game with Farmingdale, not on the rotation. This is where OTSU set up shop last time. They were able to hold for the first, second of it before they got broken into, but they did get the availability to get back into it of a nice Tyler Fury double. Hopefully they have the same results here, as he's going to be the one out the door. Unfortunately, it's a team kill, and Farmingdale, who will get on top of this AC unit, be able to lock it down.
I was nervous about if the Rams get a good setup, how much they could walk away with a significant amount of time. That's not going to be the case here. You're going to need a big play to blow it open, plain and simple. That's what you've relied on in its entirety. You're going to have 3-player chow out the door and maybe try to find what they can, but Tez will knock down 2, try to go for the 3rd, and will get it. Another teammate coming in out of FSC, and it's kind of been the bane of their existence in some of these portions. Lead back out to 60 or 70 points, but with 20 seconds up for grabs, OTSU will be happy to scoop that up, and once again, the Rams will be happy to get set up at P4.
You just don't want to be sitting there fighting for the last 20 seconds to scrap, and it's easy for me to say on the outside looking in when you're just trying to get as many points as you possibly can for OTSU. The problem so far has been getting out early on a rotation, not being able to hold it down. You get broken into every time, but the scoreline's still relatively close. Can you break in here to P4? Will it be enough for you to be able to claw your way back into the game? And that kill from Schmutz opens everything in the flood doors, because now you got 2 players in. Sure, when Wayward Nade comes in, is able to find you from Spades, but you still have control of this hard point now, and the reinforcements are here. Tyler Fury on the outside, now looking for another one in the back line onto Tez. Will be able to find it, make it 3 straight as Spades falls to his hands as well. This is great for Ontario Tech. A huge hill could give them the lion's share of time. It almost might get them a full 60.
Yeah, I don't know that they're, scrounging for points now. I really think we've got ourselves a hard point at this one. OTSU rallying, battling back, showing that they can break into a hill and try to give it a large amount of time. 20 seconds up for grabs here that will go the way of Farmingdale State as this hill comes to its conclusion. That'll put them over the 200-point mark. But again, if they put focus on getting a good P5 setup, win a few of these gunfights early on, they still have the potential to battle back into this one, but these next kills are so influential.
Streak over the top going to be used in from Tez. Tries to find Schmutz in towards the bottom of the hill. Can't find anything with it, but will scatter everybody from Ontario Tech around, not allowing them to make significant moves. CDL Pubstar in the back lines. That AR. Schmutz, I wouldn't challenge that if I were you, and you got a different gunfight to worry about from Spades coming in through the front door. His shadow's now here. Everybody from Ontario Tech looking to make this push forward. 3 down, now make it a 4th. Beautiful break-in from Ontario Tech. Farmingdale State now going to be on the outside looking in yet again. They are forcing Farmingdale to be uncomfortable, thriving in chaos as of late.
That's what we said at the top of the show. If you can make the team any amount disrupted, any amount uncomfortable, you could find yourself alive in the late portions of this series, let alone late portions of this first map. They've taken the fights to it, and I think that's been rallied behind Tyler Fury. Not only has he just been simply sprinting at Farmingdale State, but walking away with good gunfights, getting his teammates on board to win some of those as well. Starting to heat up a little bit, but again, Farmingdale will always be able to piece together a response. They just need 20 seconds to close this one out. You're going to need 80 or so points here if you want to pull off the win. It's going to be tough, but you've already shown that, hey, you can at least try to hang with the likes of them.
10 more seconds needed here from Farmingdale. Very easy to get here in just a scrappy way in P1. Carbonize will pop up for 6 and 7. That'll be streaks here towards the end. And with 2 seconds left, yeah, maybe Ontario Tech will break in, but you've got a whole job to do in making sure Farmingdale cannot get any middle map position. And while there's the top window gunfight, Tez finds it, tries to snap to the second onto Tyler Fury. But in all the chaos, it is everybody from Farmingdale now over towards the point. And with 1 second left to tick onto it, they'll be able to take map number 1 in a hard point that everybody favored them in. And although it got close towards the end, that very lengthy stretch that Farmingdale was able to get to in the beginning of the hard point comes back to bite Ontario Tech in their last stretch comeback. They'll lose 182 to 250.
You said it best. You don't go out to that 90-point deficit in the first 2 hills. This could be a completely different looking game. With some of these, upper echelon teams, it's about surviving that onslaught of first gunfights, and they kind of got bullied around the map the first couple of hills. That put them in a hole that they simply couldn't overcome. I mean, again, they came close. They came within 15 points at one point, but again, you make that deficit any less at the beginning, they could have a 15 to 20 point lead and turn. Ontario Tech played that well. They took advantage of what the map was. Close quarters, mixy, high engagements, and then after surviving the first couple of hard points, they were able to play it pretty much tooth and nail the entire way. So for OTSU, a good map out of them to try to bode and show that they can hang with the likes of top schools. And again, I'm excited to get into map 2, but a decent showing from them to kick things off.
Yeah, absolutely. Just seeing that gunfight again still pissing me off, but it's okay because Spades is better than me, and that's why he's the 10th ranked or on the 10th ranked team in the nation. But regardless, it's it's refreshing to see OTSU be able to come out and be able to at least give Farmingdale some sort of run for their money to some capacity. And again, I'll credit Tyler here for it, because throughout the beginning of the game, even towards the late stages of the game, his 2-3 pieces here, being able to move around the map, cut different players down on Farmingdale, just consistently allowed Ontario Tech to get some positioning on the map. Shadow kind of teed up a little bit towards the end of the game too, but again, you're going up against a very, very strong Farmingdale State team, and I think going forward into the search and destroy, things are going to need to turn around, of course. But if you're able to find the magic that you had after those first 2-3 rotations and that battle and force back that you had, going into this map too on Hotel, genuinely speaking, things could change quick.
They absolutely could. Needs to be a quick start and a slower search and destroy. And by that, I mean, keeping it what I've said all night, right? You've got to go out, find a way to influence the first bloods the best you can, walk away with them. Sure, that would be great. But even if you end up just trading out first blood kills, doing whatever you can to keep things even, to give yourself an advantage would be best. Hotel, a big map. You've got a lot to clear out and make sure you have, cuts locked down, whether you put emphasis on mid-map, whether you look to take complete site control. A lot to keep account for. Either team needs to be wary of maybe players going out on flanks, right? With how Tyler was playing, that for OTSU, definitely the potential for him to get out, get loose in this hard point. And the same thing could be said for really any of these Farmingdale State players getting out on a flank, trying to influence, get through the back lines, and make things easier for your teammates. I'm excited to see what both of these teams bring to the table here in map 2.
I think Ontario Tech is going to, for what it's worth, find a little success on the map doing small things, like just taking mid-map control, for example. There's a lot of teams that opt to neglect the middle map here on Hotel when search and destroy is concerned, and if OTSU is able to kind of get out and get ahead of that on Farmingdale, that's a spot where easily right off the rip, because you're gonna have to send at least one person there. You send two, boom, first pick, first blood, you have a 4 versus 3 around the rest of the map. If it's an offensive type thing, switching it up, taking things over to the opposite side, over by restaurant, you get the bomb down there, or you take the 1-on-2, 1-on-3 gunfight that might be there for you, because most people are going to send 2-3 over to the B bomb. So it's like, if I can get over towards A, we'll be happy, we'll be able to take this home, and we'll ride the ship and sail it. So again, there's many small things you can do from Ontario. Yeah, but regardless, what it genuinely comes down to is just playing as a cohesive unit, but like not forcing your hand to have to play off of one person to take opening engagements to where then you're just kind of battling back off of that back foot, and just making sure Farmingdale's uncomfortable again. That's all you gotta do. I say it like it's so nonchalant and easy, but just kill him. Just do it. Just kill him. But you have to.
Just chow and win. Yeah, I know. I completely get what you're saying. You gotta take what the map's giving you, control what you can, and that's as simple as getting to your marks off your break quickly. And again, winning the gunfights is another conversation, but you're definitely going to be in a better position if you can hit your marks, get there quickly, have those lanes locked down, and be the first to have a pre-aim pulled up and be ready to take a gunfight. Like I said, winning the gunfight is an entirely different conversation. With how Farmingdale State opened that hard point, they were challenged everything. And, Tyler Fury got things going. Shadow was able to tee up, as you said, as well, towards the tail end of the hard point. Teammates getting, on board too. You can't let them come out and dominate early on, because you can blink and a search and destroy will be over. So for OTSU, I'm going to say the same thing, right? Damage control early, and that's not to put them in a negative hole early on in the search and destroy, but do not let Farmingdale State impose their will early on, get out to a 3-0 advantage where you have to start to rally back and rip off consecutive rounds, trade it out, like you said, have a couple players really put emphasis on trying to win the gunfights you're supposed to. If it's a 1v1 around the map, do what you can to try to win that. Whether you snake, slither, whatever you've got to do, find a way to walk away with the gunfight win, make things easier for your teammates. And again, they do have a chance, right? That's something they can control to an extent, is put yourself in the best position to win a gunfight. Do what you can from there. I would probably just close my eyes and just start spraying, and that's not the best search and destroy advice I've given. So take it with a grain of salt, but welcome back to Cash's Corner.
No, absolutely. I think the cool thing too is, like, you know, we came into the series in the most respectable way possible. We kind of pinned it as a Farmingdale State 3-0 over Ontario Tech. That much was kind of like put down on the table and said, all right, cool. But when we start going throughout a series and you start seeing some guns get hot, you start seeing a few more players maybe get a little bit more comfortability on the map. That's when those kind of predictions and those feelings can start to go wayward and change a bit.
Yeah.
And I think I'm starting to kind of feel that way myself, although I don't know if Ontario is going to be able to pull off a search and destroy win here. To a certain degree, I genuinely kind of think that, like, going into a map 2, the feeling in the air has changed enough to where it doesn't feel like it's going to be a one-sided Farmingdale State win anymore, and OTSU is kind of just slipped through the cracks of a lot of things and figured out something that they're going to need to do to figure or to win this series. I don't know. There's just something in the air that I feel like they just cracked some sort of code, and they're going to be able to walk away with something here.
Yeah, I think that's because they were able to get under the skin of the Rams. They ruffled their feathers. They disrupted their tempo and flow and kept it a close to contest hardpoint. If I'm a team coming into a series in an underdog position and I can ruffle feathers, maybe play a game closer than you had thought going into it, yeah, I'm feeling good going into map 2, you see. Now as we get things going on Hotel, what can they do to look to continue to disrupt this Ram squad? Carbon has opened up with the first blood. Shadow with the worst timing ends up making up for it there. I thought for a second that snap was possible.
You snap back onto that round turns completely on its head. Ontario might be looking at something good for themselves, but in a 2 versus 2, that bomb is going to go down. Moby has the information, but CDL Pupstar turns around. Tez gets his gunfight across the map too, so each individual player from Farmingdale State win their one-on-ones at the end in a 2v2. They get their first round and the first round on the board here in the S&D.
If Moby had made that play any quicker, I think he could have got great timing. Pupstar makes the read, gets a good kill, and once again, you open up with the first blood. That's going to make things that much easier. Like you said, you win your ones across the map respectively, and with Shadow, we talk about maturity in players' decision-making. We know he's sniping for now. Decision time comes, we'll revisit it in the mid-portion of it. If, you know, he's not being effective with it, does he look to put it away? If he is being effective with it, how does the team play around that? All information we'll try to take in as it comes our way, but for now, Sniper's still out. They're leaning towards this A side, and Farmingdale State have a heavy stack in bed.
Oh, I love what Tyler does there. It was one of the things we needed to see out of Ontario if we wanted to see them be able to take this. Aggression towards the middle of the map. Being able to find your picks in that regard. Really starting to turn your way around, but that's such a tough gunfight because Carbonize is coming from one side, you have the nade on the other. That's just a well-timed and coordinated play from Farmingdale State. That gives them an advantage. And out through the back line here. Snap back from behind. Hello, Poppy. Shadow says goodnight to Carbonize. Leaves himself in a 1 versus 1. Vaznev and Sniper to work with. Bomb over towards the A site. Spade just playing in the middle of the map. Looking for a wrap through.
Has Daddy to work with. So if he tries to get top cat or anything like that. Oh, but the foot race is coming in. I think Spade's got eyes on him. Does he turn around? Oh my gosh. This is just a round of timings and Shadow gets away.
So now he has information because he knows the bomb is down. If he pops up the Sniper and tries to bait him over with the bomb plan, he could walk away with this round. So he spots him out. Spades, gunfight, challenges, doesn't want it just yet. Gonna force him to back off. Bomb gonna go down. He will be able to get away with his life if he wants to jump across, but Spades knows this. Timing might be on his side. Vaznev shots out. Beautiful little snake, and it's a 1 versus 1 win from Shadow in a 1v2. Ontario Tech, you're gonna get your first round on the board. Papa goes big in a 1v.
I like it. I love it, to be honest. I mean, that was a good play out of Shadow. You can tell. Like you said, I don't know the feeling shift there, but these guys, maybe they're just playing with heart, right? And I'm not, you know, this isn't for like a national championship or something, but again, it feels good seeing Ontario Tech come out. They're playing with confidence. I think maybe the best way to sum up all of our feelings is they haven't shied away. They haven't stepped down and just said, yeah, we're just going to take the lot. They're absolutely battling in this series, and Shadow, letting him know as well, with a round like that, with a clutch like that, you got to be feeling good. Rest of the team hopefully can stay on board here, and we've got ourselves a tied up S&D early on.
I mean, regardless, they're still competitors, and at the end of the day, if you're an underdog in a series, you want to be able to take down the team that people think you're going to lose to. So it's really no surprise that they're playing with a grit. But as Spades was able to get in towards bottom bed in the lobby of the hotel there, unfortunately, you will be able to cut down Moby. That makes things a bit more difficult for Ontario Tech here. 3 versus 4. Bomb going down over at A, but Shadow with the sniper will be able to pop one. 5-1 for him, leading the way for this OTSU squad. As Tez looks to wrap around on the back, Tyler Fury gets some great timing, forces a 2 versus 3, gets the second one as well. He is a double kill magnet, and now it's Spades last alive in a 1v3.
Playing like a man possessed, honestly. I mean, channeling everything and winning the gunfights behind it. That's the kind of play you need to see. I saw whenever he slipped in check-in, I was like, he could get good timing here, and does just that. OTSU take a second round in a row. Shadow still being effective with the sniper on the backside of the map, locking things down. Tyler Fury running it up the gut, taking it home here early on.
Pretty little round there. One thing I don't want to see is Shadow starting to slow down and the rest of the team not being able to benefit to the same factor that they are. We've seen that a lot of times where, you can take over the beginning of a search and destroy because one person is popping off, but if that person starts to slow down and nobody else can really step up to the challenge, all it was really for naught. Another team is able to just go ahead and reclaim what they had before themselves. Either way, Farmingdale State spreading the map here on defense. 2 players in the mid-map. Shadow realizes that there's one there, gets a couple bullets to the face, and is forced to back on off in towards the restaurant. They want this bomb to go down over towards B. Spades is in the freezer just playing and taking his time here. Might just be able to get behind a few. Doesn't have Deddy to work with, and the CDL Pupstar is able to pop both the players that go into the kitchen. At least Smuts is able to retaliate with one.
I don't know the Spades. Got eyes on Shadow with a sniper, but Tez will take down Smuts, and there you go. They're going to go chasing for this kill. Shadow simply trying to sprint away, maybe going to try to snap to see if you can find another gimme kill there. Farmingdale State with a good response, though. It was just a good read at the B site. It's so hard on Hotel to make a push towards B. If you're not making noise at A and one person sees you in mid-map, it's just so easy for them to wrap back, and it's just such a sprint to try to get that bomb down quickly. Even with an island player over there, you got to sniff out where they're playing. So a tough task. OTSU give it a shot. It doesn't quite pan out for them. Fortunately, things just stay tied at 2-2, but Farmingdale State looking to try to piece something together on offense themselves to give themselves an advantage.
Shadow trying to open up with a sniper. CDL Pupstar does not want to challenge this over aggressively and give his life away just yet. A lop up onto the top. Shadow will give away that he still has the sniper out. Not going to connect with the first shot, and the bomb will go down over towards A for free, as nobody was able to get back over on towards the site. Carbonized first blood here. It's a retake here still for OTSU.
And that's just a great gunfight one for Carbonized to take. Maybe if that gets traded out by Moby, it's a different situation. That's not going to be the case here. You're pinned in Hotel. You're starting to get surrounded. Carbonized running loose on the flank. Time ticking. Everything basically working against you. And yeah, Carbonized here going for the ace. No one Shadows is left alive. I'm going to try to challenge here in a minute.
Getting information on where Shadow is. He'll pop down in towards the bottom. All 4 in the round will be his. And as quickly as Ontario Tech were able to win 2 straight, Farmingdale will respond with 2 of their own. Now the search and destroy has really started to open wide up. Shadow hasn't really found any information or utility with that sniper in the last few rounds. Now begs the question, who else will be able to step up to the mantle to be able to get some sort of consistency for Ontario? Latter half of this S&D.
You know, Farmingdale State's going to play around Tyler Fury and his aggression. You need someone like Moby, like Schmutz, to really turn things up. Find some picks for the team as well. And see what they can get doing.
He's the first one to fly out, has bomb in hand, forces Spades to back all the way off, but as Carbonized is able to take Tyler out in the round, Moby will find his first and second kills of the game on a Tez and Carbonized. Stays alive on the bomb. Once again, they'll force Spades to back off into top bed. And Ontario Tech, they do have themselves the advantage until CDL Pupstar walks away. Now it's CDL Pupstar, though, who will get the sniper out of his own. 2 versus 2. Bomb not down yet. So a minute to work with here. Now the offense in a bad spot as Spades is starting to make his way up. Shadow there. Schmutz 1 versus 1. Oh, dude, Spades wants this so bad. He's going to take it too. He's going to fly directly at him. And once again, he just makes him pay with the quick, fast movement. Farmingdale 3 straight.
Clinical work there. You close distance. Oh, it is. Okay, CDL Pupstar gets in the back. I thought for a second you stood a chance to take that from the front with the tack, but again, the team shot's good enough. The sniper gonna be the final dagger. And as you said, Farmingdale State take 3 straight. For OTSU, trying to string together a response here. One more round, and Rams are sitting at match point.
Yeah, you can tell Pubstar was like, all right, dude, you want to keep sniping me, bro? I'll take it out, and I'll show you who's daddy. And right now, he's showing him who's daddy, but Shadow retaliates there onto Pubstar. So that's the first bit of utility that Shadow's been able to find in the last 2 rounds. Finally gets himself another kill on the board. A couple other players on the side of OTSU were trying to get up as well. And Shadow with the pistol in hand will find Carbonize. It's Ted who's getting from behind, so that'll at least make things a little bit more manageable here. 2 versus 3. Reach out on Moby might be here, but as he lays down, that's the perfect play that he needed to make it a 2 versus 2.
Unfortunately for OTSU, someone has always been in your back line. I mean, Spades is going to go chasing on this kill, but Schmutz with the turnaround snap with the tack, going to put him in a good position. This round, Carbonize was in your back line. Spades was as well, and you've been able to thwart the threat. Now for Tez in a 1v2. Going to try to find a way to salvage this round. You'd like to see these players play together for Ontario Tech. Now Tez has got to make a play for bomb here.
It's not dead silence either, and this is like the biggest like catalyst that makes it so much easier for the opposition. But Smuts gets caught with his pants down. 1 versus 1 here from Tez. Yeah, and he's just going to try and sprint across the map, but does he have enough time? Well, player number 8 in Shadow be watching for it. 12 seconds left. Has to hop up and around the corner. It's going to be a tight race for time here. With 6 seconds left, he's just going to be able to get to it, but Shadow is aware. He's going to go through the back door here, and I love this play because he has dead silence popped as well. He needs to get good timing here, though, because Tez could get away with his life, but once again, Shadow goes massive, gets 3 in the round, keeps Ontario Tech within 1 round of Farmingdale State, and also prohibits them from getting the match point.
You keep it within striking distance. Great clutch once again out of Shadow. You had said a few rounds ago you're worried, does he slow down? Do you have an issue with keeping the productivity high? And so far, no problems, and your teammates have started to step up and tow. I'd like to see the First Bloods shift a little bit more. If you're an OTSU fan, you want to see them walk away with a couple more of those. Carbonize in the back line has kind of been your biggest threat, as well as some double kills in the mid-round. But for Farmingdale State, again, playing close, getting played close once again here in the second map. And you're doing what you can to have separation, but OTSU won't go down.
Shadow going to be looking over towards top left here. Tez is going to challenge on out, but Shadow won't be able to make him pay just yet for the over-aggressive hit. But as Tyler Fury runs up the staircase, he'll be able to win the 1 versus 1 gunfight. However, he's got another challenging immediately after the fact. It's Carbonized up close and personal with attack that will allow things to be evened out at a 3 versus 3. You see player number 7 in Schmutz. He's just holding down the back line now. The potential rotation could be coming with the bomb in hand here, but they'll force their way back over towards A. They get the information that nobody's been seen over on the site just yet. Middle of the map and the flank now going to be occupied by this Farmingdale State roster. Schmutz nade up and towards the top, going to force one to back off, but that allows CDL Pubstar an opening. He's able to find one, snaps to the second, and the help is there. Beautifully played from Farmingdale State. We'll put them at 5-3 in match point here in the S&D.
I don't want to take a gunfight against Spades ever. I mean, it's the most annoying thing because it's all Spades did. Probably wasn't going to win that gunfight, but you had the teammate come in and ended up cleaning up the kill also. It gotta be so annoying. They line up the last 2, and as you said, sitting at match point, has CDL Pubstar Carbonize having great games, and those Spades have been boasting the best stat line with how much of a nuisance he's been around the map. Also imposing his will here. OTSU, you gotta rip off 3 straight to take it in this one. You need a bit more out of some other players.
Carbonize has led the way here for Farmingdale State. Opposite side, it's been all Shadow. But ever since that double that we saw from Moby that got him off of the 0-5 start, once again, he's remained dormant and quiet on this hotel map. 45 seconds left in the round. Carbonize once again wins a big 1 versus 1 gunfight, just barely survives it, but that's all that it takes because now Spades can pair for a second. Moby, Schmutz, the last 2 alive here, and now it's Moby left alive in a 1 versus 3. Bomb down on the opposite side of the map. He's got no information, but he is able to snap to 1. Isolated 1 versus 1 gunfight, but now the last 2 players from Farmingdale should be playing tight-knit with one another. And as he gets through the back line here, needs to be able to win this 1 versus 1 gunfight, but CDL Pubstar will just throw shoulders. Over on the staircase, there'll be an availability for a trade, and with just a few seconds left and not enough time to go for the defuse, Carbonize will pop up, say goodnight to Moby, read him a bedtime story, say goodnight to the search and destroy, because it's over. 6-3 the win here for Farmingdale State. A 2-0 series advantage is theirs.
Still playing it close, still battling it hard. OTSU not enough in that search to close things out, and I think Carbonize is the primary catalyst for their success. Numerous First Bloods, 4 at that. a great way to get around on the flanks, find a couple of kills in the back. Really, really impactful in that map too for Farmingdale State to put them up 2-0, like you said. And now we stay on Hotel, but go to a control where, again, anything OTSU can do, a win, a good sign for them. But you can tell they're really wanting to battle in this one and make it as close as they can.
One S&D there. I mean, there were genuine moments where Ontario Tech had the upper hand advantage in this S&D, hands down. But like there were many rounds, many moments where things completely turned on their head. But I mean, just speaking to Shadow's play alone, you know, not to say that he was carrying the torch in the search and destroy, but he was absolutely carrying the torch. You know, Moby had his one round where he was able to find 2, and then OTSU was able to win the round off the back end of that. Schmutz, Tyler had their moments throughout the S&D, but really it was just the one consistency that they had that gave them those 3-round wins, and that was Shadow. But again, like I said at the beginning, I didn't want to see him slow down and then have the team not be able to keep up in the slaying department and being able to win gunfights around the map, because one player's confidence can't carry over to 3 different people as a 4-man roster. So they were able to shut things down to the max, and I have to tip to obviously Farmingdale State. You know, they were the favorite team coming into this, so there's no surprise that they were able to take that S&D. But genuinely speaking, if a few more players were to figure it out just in a couple key moments and not throw their lives away in some situations, that S&D does go the way of Ontario, and it changes the complexion of the series.
Yeah, and it's also props to Farmingdale State for, again, what separates good teams from better teams is your ability to make adjustments in the mid-game, in the mid-round, whatever the case may be. Ontario Tech had 3 early rounds on the board, 2 behind clutches of Shadow, but what did Farmingdale State do? They started, again, contesting the sniper with a sniper out of CDO Pubstar. They started sending Carbonize on flanks to try to match or find Tyler Fury on a route, and ended up winning majority of those gunfights, finishing at 11-5. So a team that can make adjustments and find success behind that, generally going to bode well the back half of any given mode. Farmingdale State doing exactly that here.
Absolutely. Just genuinely speaking about the series, or generally speaking, I should say, you know, we came into this saying, like, you know, there's talent in every crack of this roster for Farmingdale State. You know, maybe they're not a sure lock for playoffs, or not playoffs, but a sure lock for LAN. But playoffs and a deep run is going to be, you know, easy breezy for this team. But again, honing your ability to take the matches that you should be winning against Ontario Tech and some of these other schools that are kind of in the mid pack of your division up in the Northeast. Besides, you know, the obvious blunder on that schedule and in your standings and the loss to Fisher, you've relatively remained undefeated and haven't really lost all that many maps and modes in their respective aspects. So going into this control, it's going to be a bit different, though. That's where Farmingdale has fared off the worst, but we'll see what happens on the backside of a break. We're going to send things away in just a few short minutes. We'll be back talking about control, so don't go too out of the coin. Just like in the last series, we saw the control is the breeding grounds for Ontario Tech to be able to start their reverse sweep hopes and chances against the 10th ranked team and the 2nd place team in the Northeast Division. We'll go back to Hotel yet again, where we just saw the search and destroy go ahead and wrap up. It was a 6-3 win for Farmingdale State, and that first map of the Embassy Hardpoint went 250 to 182. If you're just joining us, it's been a much closer series than a lot of people probably thought coming into this one. Ontario Tech genuinely playing a well-rounded, solid game against this Farmingdale State, bringing their best to the table against a very formidable opponent.
Absolutely so, and in this Hotel control, they're going to need their best and then some to rally back in this series, but one I would still expect to play close, right? You said it best. At the end of the day, still competitors on the other side, and of course through all 8 players, but you come in with that underdog storyline here in the late portion of the regular season. You're going to do everything you can to play Disruptor. Not only are they, you know, a near certain lock, right, for a first round bye for the side of Ontario Tech, but one where you'd love to disrupt and do what you can to pull a map off of Farmingdale State, or at least show that, hey, we're going to try to close distance between us and this upper echelon of teams. For now, they've played it close enough, but haven't been able to walk away with the map. Could this be their possibility here on what is not Hotel?
All right, well, we had Hotel on our map screen, but it is El Asilo. So over towards the A site here on offense first is going to be Ontario Tech. And as they find themselves the first 2 kills, this should give them at least some opportunity get a tick or two on the board at A. Of course, Tez and Carbonize will respond with a few kills of their own. Carbonize has been diffy this whole series, so I can't really say anything else besides that. But as Tez is able to hop over the wall, he's able to find one. There's a nice trade that comes in from OTSU over by the radio side, as it is still dude, why can I not speak today? Dude, it has been like this the whole day, and I still can't get away from it. Drop the call, there it is.
Hey, there you go. Right, just cut the call, but these nights are the worst whenever you can't fumble over words, and that's basically your job. So I completely feel you there, Corn. And yeah, we'll pick things up off where you look to drop the call. OTSU trying to do what they can to get towards this A side. Tyler Fury trying to find an opening or a soft spot, but Farmingdale State going to give none of it now. They're going to try to implement a spawn trap where they can, and you said it. Carbonize flying around, challenging everything. I mean, when you have the jump chow bunny hops and the YY's in and around it, surely not. Oh my gosh. Dude's using a shotgun.
Dude, Carbonize is diffy, bro. Dude, he's insane. That's all I can say. 5 in a row, literally tearing through the opposition in their spawn side. As Farmingdale State continue their rampage forward here on defense, yeah, sure, we might get a look back over towards A on offense for a moment, but Carbonize is still alive and well, just cutting down the spawns and hunting everybody that's trying to make a chance over towards B and any even back over towards A. 20-12, 8 lives separate the teams. Tez is on the point, contesting it for the time being. Still 11.5 seconds to play in the round, and the second tick of progress might just be enough here, as Carbonize will finally find himself a demise at 8-2 here inside of the control. It's 2 ticks, and the last one trying to be progressed, as Moby will be able to find CDL Pubstar. A-zone captured, an extra minute to go.
If you could find a few kills here, you could close the life deficit, but that's just not going to be the case. Spades goes on a terror forward and cut down by Tez. Tyler Fury doing what he can to pave the way for the team as he has this entire series. It'll be even in the feed for now, but you just need one opening if you are OTSU to get a look at this site. Unfortunately, you don't have the lives for more than one full team push, and as Spades is looking to bleed a few more of those, this one should come down to lives here in a few moments.
He's looking to make his way forward in behind Moby. 4 lives remaining here from OTSU. Tyler Fury in the corner will be able to shut down one. As Tez gets a nice little wall bang onto Schmutz, that'll reduce the reinforcements that OTSU has by a significant margin. And the 2 versus 11 with 24 seconds left, time ticking down. Now while Farmingdale have been able to play together throughout the entirety of this series so far, it's pretty much a GG on the round here unless Shadow can pull off a miracle. The answer is absolutely for none. 1-0 up for Farmingdale State, 2 rounds away from closing out the series in a quick 3-out.
It was Carbonize who started things off. Spades walking 2-piece in this one towards the mid to late portions of the round. Make it all 3. As now for Farmingdale State, they're going to try their chance at the offensive side, see if they can put themselves a 2-round cushion here in this control, and like you said, give themselves an opportunity to close this one out quickly.
See what they have in store here on offense. They look to make the push in the middle of the map. Opening breaks can always be so game change. I was gonna finish that point out, and then I saw that OTSU only had 3 people left in the game. So I guess they're just gonna play it out from here and see what happens. But yeah, they haven't left the game yet, so I guess we'll just keep going from here. 29-28 in the lives. I guess the one thing is every time you die, I guess it's not the worst thing in the world, but they've already started the progress over at this B zone. And on the offensive push forward, CDL Pubstar has cut down Tyler Fury. I'm not even sure if Farmingdale realizes that they're in a 4 versus 3 right now. You know, hopefully they would be able to point that out, but you know, they might just be too focused on capturing the points. Regardless though, Moby for 2, Tyler Fury with 1. They'll shut down the last players over at this B zone. Unfortunately though, it'll be captured before all is said and done. With about 2 minutes and 15 seconds to get back over towards A. The spawns are up, and you still have CDL Pubstar playing in the middle of the map.
They would get cut down. You're trying to hold the line the best you can if you are OTSU, but as Farmingdale State try to carve their way forward, they're going to make their presence known. Not without Shadow and Moby combining for a couple. That'll clear this 8 progress once again. And for the Rams, they're trying to power through this top side, influence spawns, and get through the back where they can. Tez, CDL Pubstar combined for a couple as this line looks to march forward.
CDL Pubstar don't know why he shot bodies on the tail end. Again, 3 versus 4, bud. Calm down. I know you're the better team here. You're a favor coming in this matchup, but you know, I guess it's a superiority complex in that regard. Bobby up the staircase. Nice shots on the Tez. We'll walk away once again back over towards the A zone. But with the second tick of progress there and the stack coming in, this should be a well-secured round, and it absolutely will be. Farmingdale State, barring a late contestation here from Tyler Fury, will be able to walk away with it. Knife kill going to be to the utmost of use. And with a 2-0 lead, they're 1 round away here in a 4 versus 3, by the way, taking this control.
Theo Pubstar on his Mike Myers.
Yeah.
Like you said, one more round from closing this one out. The Rams have been the better team here tonight. We're able to get Schmutz loaded back up into this one. I think that's the one we lost. Yeah, no, it does. 0-0 on the scoreboard. So, hey, maybe that's what you needed, right?
Clean slate.
Here, clean slate. You're
New
0-0. Yup, absolutely. Nope. Sorry.
That was perfect. Schmutz dead out the gates. OTSU gonna be trying to get back over towards the stage zone on offense. Farmingdale State are just trying to hold here on the defensive side. Schmutz is gonna get himself 1 kill now, make it a second. He survives in the middle of the map with 42 HP.
Yeah, we have too much fun here sometimes, I think.
I think it's the right amount of fun, you know?
Yeah, you're right. Well-proportioned fun.
Shadow marching forward. V-Zone starting to get captured bit by bit. They're working for their first tick of progress, but as 4 lives have already been drained is the difference between these two teams. Moby will snap for a double. Now a streak will be used and up over the top. Nobody on offense has been able to go towards this A or the B zone. Time still ticking down with 30 seconds left. It's almost out of OTSU to make the first move forward as Tyler Fury is going to be able to find one on the spades.
Shadow will get another one. They're trying to put emphasis on this B side, but with Tez playing this position with an AR and, well, Tyler Fury just trying to jump over this rail and not get cut down by a few players, they're just going to have to stop the clock, cut their losses, and get the progress that they can. You've got Schmutz in a position to maybe cut players off working through mid-map, but for now, holding on to this B side, a tick and a half of progress in. Here come Farmingdale State.
Tyler Fury up the staircase, though. Can you pair for another here? Oh, they all line up for him, so maybe this is the chance they needed to stack on the site here, capture the B zone, and then work towards a bit of an easier A site. Shadow's already across the map, and he's there. He's forcing Farmingdale State to run towards him into his line of sight. He's been the one that has kind of kept them as the rock and stone, the middle piece for this OTSU roster. But unfortunately gets cut down while Farmingdale State is just trotting the point.
Titan lives. 70 seconds left. Tyler Fury on a tear here, as we've come to expect. It has been an exciting POV to watch throughout the night. Don't know that it'll quite be enough, but doing what he can, the rest of his teammates will fall in tow, and they've got an idea he's up here. Still going to be able to find one on Tez and able to earn the cruise missile. Going to see that invested here in the next few moments as well. Off spawn, the woes continue for Ontario Tech. They're just trying to find any kind of leverage they can to get out and get an opening, but the Rams giving nothing here.
They'll do that to you with horns and all. Fly right through you. Make you think about your past, your mistakes. Carbonized will find Tyler Fury, who is using a streak. Once again, pants down. 5-13, the lives remaining between both of these two teams. OTSU now will have no respawns remaining. Off the back block, you have a couple players just trying to surround themselves in the middle of the map. Tyler Fury was there. Schmutz came back in at 0-0. Now 2-9 here in the round. Now CDL Pubstar, the rest of Farmingdale State look to chirp and challenge everybody down around the rest of the map. Everybody starting to converge here on the A zone. Moby will be the first to fall. Tyler Fury is there, and Schmutz will say goodbye to the map as well. Farmingdale State College will take another quick 3-0 sweep, go to 9-1 on the season, and basically guarantee that they'll have that second place spot going into the playoffs.
I'm gonna watch this three-piece again. Lines up nice for him. Yeah, kind of nice. End up losing one at the end again, but
best thing that kind of happened in that for Ontario Tech. But again, you know, this is not like a big thing where we're like, oh my god, that was such a showdown, like Farmingdale State, they just put it to them. It was like, no, that was exactly what was supposed to happen throughout this series. So again, all the respect in the world to Ontario Tech. They made that hardpoint close to map 1 at the end, despite what a lot of people thought was going to happen in the S&D. You know, a big shout out to Shadow, who really put it to the side of Farmingdale State as well. Again, it was just the team play that wasn't all there all the time, that needed to be there in a highly concise effort from OTSU. And Farmingdale, well, you know, they're the 10th ranked team for a reason, and they'll stay that way. And I don't know if they'll move up in the standings this week, but they'll definitely be sitting within that top 10 company.
Absolutely making the case the best they can. They went out and did their job. We'll see what everyone else around them does, at least as far as rankings are concerned. A great performance by the team through and through. Things got close for a minute, but you talk about how battle-tested this team is. They aren't 9-1 for nothing, right? They know how to handle adversity, and they go out and do just that when things get close. We talk about OTSU playing them close, but their ability to close out their given maps, make adjustments where they need to in the mid-game portion, is the reason why they took it in a 3-0 fashion today.
Absolutely. We'll take a look at the final standings on the scoreboard here at the end, but again, there's really not much to say apart from the fact that Farmingdale was the better team. They played well. Tyler Fury, as well as Shadow, had some really strong, outstanding series on their team. Not to put any, you know, bad efforts from Schmutz or Moby either. They played to the best of their abilities. But again, Tyler and Shadow did really kind of shine that light. There was just a lot of big plays that they were making around the map that at least made my eyes jump out a little bit and say, hey, that it was good. I like what I'm seeing there. There's a lot of potential in both of those two guys. The same thing can be said for Moby and Schmutz as well. The S&D performance was kind of lackluster from everybody besides Shadow, so we'll leave that for a different conversation. But when this team is all on the same page, I think they can really do some big things, and they should be a fun team to kind of watch out for. Maybe not as like a top 16 team, but definitely a potential upset for some top 32 placings. And hey, if they can get to top 16 placings inside of this season, well, I'm sure that would be a big win for them in general. We'll take a look at our map set one more time and see where we started and where we finished. It was an embassy and then a hotel with an LSC load to close things out. 182, 250, 3-6, and an 03.
Farmingdale State taking care of business here tonight. OTSU giving it the best run they can. Simply ran out of gas at the tail end of things. And for the Rams, like you said, basically a lock, if not already, for that number 2 seed going into things. And for OTSU, still with the potential to finish top 8 and get that first round bye. So again, a lot for them to play for still in the coming week or so, and seeing what pieces move around them. But both teams sitting well to get that top 8 finish here in their respective division.
Absolutely. Before we close things out, Cash, once again, big thank you to Fandom as well as America's Navy for being huge parts of what makes collegiate Call of Duty and college COD possible here with us this season. Really, the Navy is leading the way in career path opportunities, but if you also want to stay connected to the esports world, the Navy's Goats in Glory team provides a platform for people to engage with sailors and learn more about the opportunities that the Navy provides while sharing a mutual passion for gaming. Sailors are just like everybody else. They have hobbies, interests, families, and just because they're in the Navy doesn't preclude them from those different things. Big thanks to the Navy for being a part of the CCL family this season. We hope to thank them for their continued support. Cash, closing thoughts before we go ahead and say goodnight tonight.
Lots of good matches tonight, though. I know what our closest one was a 3-1. I still think we saw a lot of good things from these squads. I think even just with what we saw at a Farmingdale, top 25 is in for a shakeup this week, given some stout performances, some upsets that will happen in the coming days and matches tomorrow. Really excited to see what the shakeups are, but again, a lot of good things from a lot of good teams. I have really no complaints about the matchups tonight. For them being 3-0s, I think they were entertaining through and through. All 6 teams showing that again, they have something to play for here.
Yeah, I don't remember the last time we had a CCL broadcast that was done before 11 Eastern. So that might be, well, a new record for us here. So regardless, with that being said, on behalf of myself, Cash, everybody else in the CCL family and the production staff that make all these broadcasts possible, we want to thank you so much for coming out and watching tonight. Thank you for all the teams that competed, as well as congratulations to the winning teams on each side. Things are only going to continue to heat up from here on out. Same time, same place here tomorrow at 7:30 Eastern for the final day of this week of competition. And then next week, we'll also be back for the final week of the regular season. I'm just going to throw a few dates out you guys real quick. March 21st, again, that's next week. It's the last stream matches of the regular season. And then April 3rd, after our spring break, the LCQs will go ahead and start up. And then a little later down the line, we'll go ahead and disclose some more information. Anyways, stay safe, be safe to each other, be kind to each other, and have yourselves a great night. Once again, we'll see you back here at 7:30 Eastern tomorrow night for day 2 of this week of Collegiate Call of Duty.